Hey everybody, we're a little late, but better late than never. Or a day late. But anyway, we've got another episode to talk about. This is Patty and
Al.
your professional lovers in training. So Olivia and Brent gave us a lot to talk about tonight. So let's save them for last. Okay. So really nice to see the comfort level between Amelia and Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
They are goofingly cute.
Yeah.
I mean, the same quirky sense of humor and a very easy interaction between them, talking about, deep stuff in a way that is non-threatening.
Stressless.
Very much so. So they were cute to watch tonight.
Yeah.
And likewise with Woody and Amani.
Yeah.
Who were the first one to consummate the marriage. And it follows their style of interacting too.
Yeah, their process. I mean, they were both patient. They were taking baby steps. They were both alluding to each other's level of comfort and vulnerability. They were communicating.
It was kind of funny though how all the couples, because they were getting toward the end, close to the end of the honeymoon, starting to wonder how real life was going to change things. If it was going to change things, how will it change things? What's going to be our first tiff or disagreement? How we're going to handle it? So everybody's still a little wary.
A little apprehension about what reality was going to be.
But I like the way Amani, who is the one between she and Woody, who is the most wary. She expressed several times how in past relationships it was good and then it wasn't.
Right.
And so, she's sort of trying to keep herself
on an even keel.
Yeah, so it doesn't throw her for a loop. And, Right. But I like the fact that she didn't let that stand in the way of her maintaining a comfort level with Woody that
I mean, we can get
easy.
Get in our own way at times when it comes down to
which I think Karen is doing a little bit. But that's just because she's more reserved.
Yeah. No.
So Amelia, Bennett, Amani, Woody, the most comfort level. Karen and Miles, a little less of a comfort level, but he was very courageously vulnerable tonight. Sharing his clinical depression diagnosis.
And I mean, I commend him for it, for the simple fact that that's not something that that's one of them things that you could take to the grave. I mean, you could be having you can have a pill bottle up on your counter and, be asked, what's it for? Oh, well, I got a little high blood pressure.
No, that's fine.
But it is. But again, you take it to the grave with you. I mean, you're taking something where, it's for a purpose. But you can be self-conscious about what that purpose is.
And he was. But he was honest. And that's how you're supposed to be in a relationship. So I commend him for it. It gave her red flags. And, any kind of mental imbalance seems to be harder to take than physical disability.
Because
mental disability, people are less...
Well, we don't talk about it much.
Accepting.
People are less knowledgeable about it, which is really the case. I mean, when you don't know about something, it's automatically a fearful situation. And the less people know about something, especially when it comes to somebody so close to you, it becomes a fearful incident. It becomes fear. You don't know what does mental imbalance mean? Are you physical? Are you combative? Or, I mean, what do you do when you're out of sync? What are you capable of doing?
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, but it sounds like he's managing it well.
Oh, no, definitely.
And, so she has red flags, but she responded in a very supportive way, asking the right questions, did not appear to be thrown off by that revelation, although she was a little thrown off by that revelation. And she kept
mentioned it.
She kept making the comment of, I wanted a manly man. What does that mean? What's a manly man?
Man, boy, 6'4",
because he doesn't come across as not being manly.
No.
So I kind of wonder, what is her definition of a manly man?
I don't know. Somebody who's probably a little more coarse than he is. Where I think that he's a genuine...
Less expressive?
He's a genuine feeling kind of guy, which there's nothing wrong with a man feeling or expressing his feelings.
Right, and so I don't understand why that characteristic she doesn't consider manly.
Now, understanding, in her 30 years, she's only been in 2 real relationships.
True.
So, what's her experience with a manly man?
Yeah. Because you're very feeling and sensitive, but I consider you manly.
Yes, I am.
So that's just an interesting term, and it almost comes across as that stereotypical, the macho man doesn't express his feelings, keeps everything inside, is non-communicative.
Exactly. What does that do for the level of communication that you would want?
What does that do for building a relationship? Yeah. Right.
A lasting relationship.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It would be interesting as, the weeks go on to find out what she means by that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't see that in Miles. And yet I
think Miles is a good guy.
I think he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So, but she handled that well, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. With her having that information. Let's see, what else can we talk about before we spend time with Olivia and Brett? Henry and Christina. She finally started to see her impatience. And I said from the very beginning that would be an issue for her because of his pace.
Yeah. And I mean, her worldliness and his bubble. I mean...
Also her being used to having an aggressive or a man who takes charge, which is not Henry.
And the thing about it, I'm almost inclined to feel that she's accustomed to one taking charge to the point or to the doorstep of taking advantage. Because it's not something that, I mean, she, again, not in a relationship, but she has talked about, again, things that you say, you when it come out of your lips, you don't get an opportunity to take them back in. She's talked about being a party girl and so on and so forth, where relationships or lasting relationships haven't been part of her history.
Yeah, they've been elusive for her.
And Henry, again, he's a painful pill to swallow.
Although I have to say tonight he was less. It was less difficult to watch.
Yeah, well,
less painful to watch.
It was even entertaining to hear him commentate.
Right, when they were on the paddleboard.
Yeah,
he was very chatty.
Yeah, he was.
With the camera.
Yeah.
And because he was enjoying himself.
Yeah, he was. And it was something new.
He started out as normal Henry, scared of everything. But, he got into the flow and he was actually kind of funny tonight.
Yeah, he was. I was amused. You know.
But at least Christina admits her impatience.
And he also admits his painfully
slow pace.
Yeah.
So
he is uber deliberate on everything. I think he thinks about breathing sometimes.
But that's Henry.
That's Henry.
So we'll see how that goes. So I think that's everybody else. And now the rest of our 10 minutes or so will be spent on Olivia and Brett, who were the first to have their tiff.
Yeah.
Now they were talking, they were really talking about some pretty heavy things like their financial, the
current financial state,
states
their income,
of the two of them,
and,
right?
How their lifestyles for the most part,
right. And so to find out that she made significantly more than he does. I mean, his initial reaction was great. He's like, "Hey, that's a turn on." And then stereotypically, a lot of men,
a men's ego would be like, "You make more money than me. I can't deal with you because I can't control you."
That would become an issue. But it appeared for him that is not an issue. But what is an issue is the difference in their financial philosophy.
Yeah, and that's an issue,
Yeah, because as you pointed out, with him growing up in a family of 5, they didn't have a lot of money. I grew up in a family of 5. We did not have a lot of money. When you have 5 kids, and you're working as at a private school, not really making money, and all of your kids are in private school. We didn't have a lot of money, and my mother knew how to stretch things to the nth degree, and that sounds like what Henry was used to. So growing up in his Brett, sorry, thank you. That sounds like what Brett was used to, and growing up in his family, not having a lot of money, and then not making a lot of money, but still enough for him. He appears to be more on the frugal side.
Yeah. And
interested in long-term financial stability.
Maybe even building things or,
investing.
Right. Exactly. Investing for the long term. Whereas Olivia is about, hey, I make the money, let's spend it, let's have fun with it, enjoy it. I like different things. I like to go out and yada, yada, yada.
Eat out all the time. Yeah. Have activity all the time. And she has the ability to do it financially.
Right. She has the means.
But she doesn't want to be reined in, and he doesn't want to
be excessive.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not accustomed to being excessive.
Yeah. Eating out every day? Yeah. No, we got to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
But and so that became a slight sticking point for Olivia.
The beginning.
Of the sticking points for the night. Because afterwards, when she said, "Oh, you can't stay mad. He's so cute. You can't stay mad at him." We were like, mad?
What?
Why are you mad that there's a difference in how you all view money?
Really?
I mean, I didn't think that was something to be mad about.
True.
Because you've got different philosophies. You just have to...
You've had different upbringings.
Take the time to integrate those philosophies.
And get to understand each other more. Well, why do you feel that it's okay not to have money, or that you don't have money, or you don't aspire to make as much money as you possibly can? Because maybe, just having a valued job that you enjoy doing that gives you some type of internal feeling may be what you need, as opposed to as much money as you make. And she even alluded to it in a manner that what she does, she makes good money at. But she said that it may not necessarily be something that I'm willing to do for any long period of time. So, now she might find another job that will pay her as much. But then again, she might get tired of that and realize that that type of job was the only way she was going to make the money that she was making. And she'll have to do something else and be satisfied with what she's not going to get, but be happy in the job that she gets.
Well, it just hit me how we've got 2 examples of how your environment shapes your philosophy about money.
True.
You've got Amelia, who grew up in a family where mom was the major breadwinner, dad stayed home, and Bennett, who is into the arts that is not a money making profession,
right.
unless you know are fortunate to
He's a
hit it
hustler.
big. But and so their philosophies fit into what they were each used to,
Right. Right.
and they gelled.
Right.
Whereas the environments that Brett and Olivia, you
The
know,
two drastic
grew up in
differences toward
create
one another.
a distinct difference
Yeah.
that could provide some moments of clashing, as we've already seen.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to work on working that out. The other thing that they talked about with the distinct difference was, you know, the role that sex plays in a relationship. For Brett, it's like by date number 3, we need to be hitting it. Which, you know, let me know that he kind of sees sex as recreation. She, on the other hand, sees sex as part of commitment. And so for him, 7 dates in was like, you know, a lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, what? 7? But I'm going to, you know, honor what she's saying.
Yeah.
I understand what she's saying, but yeah, that wouldn't be normal for me.
But again, you got to understand that his mentality has been, they call him, he's titled the serial dater.
Yeah.
What you understand about why he's a serial dater is because when he was engaged, he was cheated on. So, you know, he hasn't been about being committed to anything in a while, you know, whereas she hasn't been committed to anyone in a while either.
And that leads to their discussion that was very interesting when he asked her, how do you de-stress? And she responded that she distresses by hanging out, conversing with friends and family. Every day, her mom, her best friend, every day, hanging out with her friends, you know, all the time. And he began
like,
to wonder, well,
where do I fit in?
where's that going to leave me?
Yeah.
In her response, which I understand what she was saying, but how it was coming across was slightly scary.
Yeah.
That, you know,
well, she said it. I mean, she said it.
We don't have to give up our lives just because we're together.
You have a life, I have a life, and we have a life together.
That is so not a healthy
Attitude.
Viewpoint, perspective to hold your marriage in.
Yeah.
Okay, so because it's not me, you, and us. It's us.
It's us. It starts with us.
And we talk a lot about being together by default.
Yeah.
As in, well, yeah, we spend time together because we
together, we come up under the
we
same
stay in the
roof.
same house, we sleep in the same bed, we eat, you know, together. Sometimes, you know, we're going to come back home together. So we're together. That's togetherness by default.
Yeah. It's not quality time.
It's not intentional togetherness.
Right.
And that's intentional togetherness is where you build the relationship. And so Brett started getting kind of a little nervous about the fact that, you know, as Olivia was talking, it didn't appear that there would be much intentional togetherness.
It appeared that he had to be fit into her schedule.
Yeah, and she came across as being very rigid and inflexible in her ideas.
This is what I do.
About, you know, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give up my friends. And, you know, and I was saying, it's not that you have to give up your friends. No. But you do have to adjust your life to accommodate this new life.
Really? That you've chosen.
You don't just fit each other into your old life.
Exactly.
You adjust your life to a new life, and you fit your friends and family in.
Exactly. To
the new life. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
That's how that should go.
True. That's how it should go.
And of course, you know, I've got to get a plug. We talk about that in our book, Becoming a Professional Lover. That it's about oneness. And granted, some couples like my parents and actually you and me,
Mm-hmm.
we like spending time together. So there's very little that we don't do together.
Together. True.
And it's not because I make you or you force me. It's because we enjoy each other's company.
True.
Some, other couples need more solitary time. Mm-hmm. But again, that should be less than the time that you spend together. Solitary time should be less than the time that you spend together.
True.
Now, however that looks for you as a couple. But being together and doing things together should be the norm. And
anything outside of that should be the abstract.
Or the exception, or, yeah. So she's a little scary. So he got a little, nervous behind that. And then the tiff. The rating game.
Yeah.
Which Brett just took way too seriously.
Yeah.
He figured it out the morning after.
Yeah.
But they weren't, it was about rating where you are right now with what you know right now. Yeah. And that was not hard to do, And like you said, for you, because you're in paradise, you're out of the norm, you're having a fantastic time, it's a 13.
Exactly.
For me, it probably would have been about 8.
This ain't gonna happen like this ever again. I mean, when you're brand new and you're putting it all out there, you're in an environment where everything is catered to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is truly
it's
paradise.
Beautiful.
It's nirvana.
It's easy.
You have options, and the food is great, and you're in a tropical resort, and life is grand. Yeah, it's above normal. It's above perfect.
Right.
Because reality has not set in yet. That's going to bring it down to what you know is perfect. Because you can accept the 10 and be realistic about it and know that it's not going to be, it's not going to be that.
It's not realistic to life because you're not living regular life at that moment.
Exactly.
But he was like, yeah, I will not dehumanize.
By putting a number to it.
And, it's so stupid. And it's like,
it's a game.
And if that's how you felt with everybody else, just playing it. He was a huge downer. So he felt a little something when he overheard.
That he was a 7. He was a 7.
If it wasn't that big a deal, I'm not sure why he got salty behind.
Really, and she's saying her explanation was, we don't know where.
At least he wasn't a 5 like Henry.
Yeah.
But Henry was like, I understand that because I'm moving a little slow, But so it was interesting when they got by themselves.
Yeah.
And clearly his attitude had changed. He immediately shut down.
Like a cold shower.
And she knew it. And she felt it.
Yeah.
And she did the right thing by asking, are you, how you feeling? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did something happen that make you mad? Did I say anything? So she did the right thing by asking the questions, but he was giving 0.
I mean, it even got to the point where her questions were just short of guilt, where I need, some type of response.
Well, she was begging for communication.
For
and hadn't they just talked about the whole communication thing?
Yeah.
The day before or earlier?
And what she could not do was not communicate.
And
he did exactly that.
Did exactly
not communicate.
That. So by the time she tried to, let me try a different tactic. Mm-hmm. Let's lighten this up. What do you want to do when you get home? Again, 0. So thankfully he came around the next morning.
Yeah, at breakfast.
And apologized.
She wasn't feeling it at first.
No, she was ignoring him.
Because she had clammed up.
Yep.
He said good morning. She looked at him.
She rolled her eyes. I was like, ooh. There was not even a courteous good morning.
Nothing.
But he apologized and then he opened up.
Yeah. And he told her why.
Yeah, that 7 just threw him for a loop.
Yeah. First off, his mindset was, I can't gauge this, and was adamant about it to the point where he called the whole idea stupid.
Yeah.
Which we know that it was a question posed by production because he let the men do it and then he let the women do it.
But he realized that he took it way too serious because he said that. Yeah. He made too much of something that didn't need to be made into a mountain. Yeah. And so he realized it and he apologized, which is always good. You need to be able to accept, your part in a tiff and apologize for it so that you can. And immediately she opened up and,
they were back to.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. But I did have an issue with Christina. Going to Olivia. And overstepping her boundaries.
Expressing her feelings.
About their relationship, which she knows nothing about. Now, I understand if you've got red flags about how a guy acts, blah, 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 but those are your red flags.
True. And you don't have to deal with it.
And I don't think it was her place to be, trying to stir things up with Olivia.
And whether she was trying to stir it up or not, again, it wasn't her place to express her feelings about someone else's relationship. Yeah. And that was, I didn't like that at all. And Olivia handled it very well. She did.
By basically saying, I understand what you say your intent is, but I'm the one who's
in it.
Married to him. Yeah. I'm the one spending time with him. And
I see what I see.
Right.
You saw something, but that ain't all of what there is to this relationship. So. And
that is a lesson in a couple keeping even family and friends outside of
the barrier.
Your circle.
Yeah.
Your personal circle.
You create your barrier that's the space that belongs to you and your spouse and alone. And whatever is within that you cherish and you want to handle the way you want to handle with each other, you don't let anybody else alter your manner of doing things.
But that also
it's a choice.
But that also
by both of you.
That also means that the couple shouldn't be talking to outside people about things going on in the relationship. Now, we're not talking about if there's physical abuse or emotional abuse, those kind of harmful types of relationships. We're talking about
perception.
Yeah, we're just talking about the average relationship, and it just because, I've had friends and family where I didn't particularly care for the spouse, but I didn't marry that person.
True.
So who am I to say anything unless I'm being asked a certain opinion, but just to interject myself, no. And you shouldn't let anybody do that between you and your spouse.
True.
So, I think we covered all the bases tonight.
Yeah, we did. We did.
To the point that we almost went 30 minutes. Ooh. That's the longest we've done. And hopefully you've gotten something out of it. We're looking forward to next week when the couples will be moving in together. Back to reality. And seeing how their comfort level increases or decreases with, we know, challenges that are going to come up.
Yeah, when the blue water is no longer outside their window.
Man, that's where I want to be right now. Some blue water on the sand. It's coming, but it was nice to see it on screen while we could. Anyway, that's it for us tonight. Thank you for watching. Leave us some feedback if you want to chit-chat about some of the things that we said. I like interacting with our subscribers and viewers. Meanwhile, until next week, you know the drill. Stay masked up. And stay safe.
Sanitized.
Watch out for yourself because nobody else really is.
True.
So, with that, peace.
Enjoy.